This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Although the Palestinian prisoners were supposed to be released before the Annapolis Peace Conference, their release was delayed until after the conference. This is because Israel promoted its good intentions ahead of reciprocating them. 431 Palestinian prisoners were released this morning without any coordination with the Palestinian authorities. These prisoners constitute less than 5% of the total number of prisoners. The majority of those released are from the Fatah movement, while a few are from the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Amani Abu Ghantash reports from Ramallah.
This scene outside the Ofar detention camp repeats itself each time a decision is made to release a group of prisoners. People wait in anticipation for the arrival of the buses carrying their loved ones who were behind bars for far too long. The moments of waiting weigh heavily on the shoulders of the families, especially since this date has been delayed several times.
We've been waiting with burning hearts over 14 days. Every time they would tell us it will be today or tomorrow.
The picture spoke louder than words as the long-awaited moment finally came. But in spite of welcoming this move, the families of the prisoners agreed that their joy is incomplete until all the prisoners are released.
Only one of my children came out. The other one still has 4 more years in jail.
Although we welcome the release of any Palestinian prisoner, we also believe that the way the prisoners are dealt with is below the accepted standard and is not realistically portrayed.
The reality of the prisoner situation is found on the sidelines of Ofar's gates, summarized by this woman's story, who waits in the same place for the trial of her only son.
He's my only child, and I'm waiting for his trial. He's been sentenced for life. What can I say?
Do you think that Israel is deceiving people?
They lie and people believe them. That's the problem. I know more than 4 or 5 people who have been released. They only had 1 or 2 months left for their sentence, maybe 3. But why not release some of the people sentenced for life? Is it fair to make one person happy and make the other lament? It's not fair.
Israel uses a revolving door policy by releasing only a few hundred prisoners while continuing to throw thousands of others behind bars. Amani Abu Ghantash, Dubai TV, outside the Ofar detention camp.
It took 2 weeks, but today the Shin Bet Secret Service allowed publication of the fact that 2 Palestinian policemen were among the 3 terrorists involved in the shooting death of Israeli Ido Zoldan last month in the West Bank. According to security forces, the November 19th attack was carried out by a PA security officer, 2 security officers, and 1 civilian. Policeman Dafar Ba'ram and his brother Abdullah were arrested by the army a day after the attack. The brothers confessed to having waited by the side of the road for an opportunity to fire at an Israeli car. The 2 men surrendered the weapons used in the attack. Later, Palestinian forces arrested PA policeman Fatih Jama for his role in the attack. The shooting occurred near Nablus, where the Palestinian Authority has recently been beefing up its police presence. Palestinian and Israeli officials said the suspects are rogue cops and acted alone without the knowledge of their superiors. 4 soldiers were lightly injured last night when a mortar hit the infirmary of an IDF base near Kibbutz Nahal Oz and near the Gaza Strip. There was structural damage to the building, and 3 male and 1 female soldier were evacuated to hospital for treatment. At least 15 mortars have been fired on the Negev since Sunday. Following the terrorist barrage, the IDF killed 5 terrorists in 2 separate retaliatory actions in the Gaza Strip. 2 Palestinian gunmen were killed as they were trying to launch a mortar shell into Israel. Later, 3 armed men were killed while attempting to reach the border fence. The trigger man in the murder of former tourism minister Rahvam Ze'evi was today sentenced by the Jerusalem District Court to life in prison plus 100 years. 33-year-old Hamdi Quran from the PFLP terror group was convicted of murdering Gandhi 6 years ago. He confessed to having shot and killed Ze'evi in the Hyatt Hotel in Jerusalem in October 2001. In handing down the sentence, the court stressed that the assassination of a government minister is not just a murder of a person, but rather an attack on the state and its sovereignty. 3 other men who were allegedly involved in the plot to murder Ze'evi are due to stand trial shortly.
استشهد 5 فلسطينيين بينهم 4 من كتائب
5 Palestinians, including 4 members of the Izz-ad-Din Qassam brigades, were martyred in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Yesterday evening, Israeli planes shelled a group of the Qassam brigades east of Gaza City. 1 member of the group was martyred. 3 others were martyred in clashes with Israeli forces in the northern Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the first wave of Gaza Strip citizens traveled through the Rafah crossing point on the border with Egypt on their way to perform the Hajj pilgrimage.
It is the first time in 5 months that any Palestinian has been able to cross the borders into Egypt. They are pilgrims on their way to the holiest mosque, the sacred house of God. Hundreds of them were able to cross into Egypt after Egyptian security personnel carried out searches and scrutinized their passports, which was provided by the Ministry of Awqaf and the Islamic Affairs of the resigned government.
Our Egyptian brothers welcomed them and helped alleviate their anger. There was security monitoring of everyone and scrutiny of their documents. No one was allowed to enter unless they had a visa on their passport from the Saudi embassy in Cairo.
The pilgrims crossing the border may be considered a break in the siege imposed on Gaza, raising questions about the situation that has allowed them to pass through after most sources did not favor opening border crossings, even to pilgrims. All of this due to Israeli stubbornness and the internal Palestinian crisis.
We have more than 1,500 passports in the consulate which were not given visas. 2,000 other passports from the Gaza Strip and the West Bank which did not even enter the consulate.
The permission for the pilgrims comes amidst an Israeli escalation on the ground that has led to people being martyred and wounded, and also amidst the deterioration of the fuel and electricity situations. Most gas stations have closed their doors after their fuel ran out and after Palestinian fronts refused to accept fuel shipments from Israel due to its reduction to 25% of the Gaza Strip's daily needs.
We tell them clearly, either they give a sufficient amount of fuel for the region, or they must take responsibility for the environmental catastrophe that is going to happen. I will inform the Israeli side that once we allow our sewage to seep into the sea, they will not be able to prevent it from reaching the Majdal coast. Any epidemic that hits the Gaza Strip, like hepatitis, does not need permission papers or checkpoints to pass through the Erez crossing and infect Israeli citizens.
Amidst the escalation of violence and a fuel crisis, Palestinians view the pilgrims traveling through the Rafah border crossing as a hole in the wall of the siege. This hole has caught the attention of people who want to know whether it is one step towards lifting the boycott or merely a hole in the wall that is linked with local, regional, and international politics. Wael Dahdo, Al Jazeera, Gaza, Palestine.
The international campaign to end the siege on Gaza staged a rally in the UK outside the headquarters of Prime Minister Gordon Brown. The participants condemned the silence demonstrated by Britain and the world over the tragic conditions in Gaza. They also condemned the members of the Annapolis Conference for overlooking the tragic conditions in the Gaza Strip.
Silence about the tragic conditions in Gaza and the suffocating political and economic siege affecting 1.5 million Palestinians prompted this protest in front of the headquarters of the British Prime Minister. The protesters condemned the Annapolis conference for ignoring the human tragedy in Gaza, considering the silence of Britain and the international community a crime equal to the crimes committed by the Israeli occupation in Gaza.
There is a serious crime taking place in Gaza. There's suffering everywhere in the Palestinian nation, but more so in Gaza. Sadly, during the Annapolis conference, there were many Arab and Western countries in attendance, but even the Palestinian delegation itself did not demand that the siege on Gaza be lifted.
The situation in Gaza is disastrous because of the shortage of medication. Thousands of people suffer from this premeditated policy, which is Bush's democracy that punishes the Palestinians for democratically electing Hamas. Britain participates in this crime, thus making Brown a part of the problem.
The protesters rejected that the Palestinian plight become merely a humanitarian plight restricted to offering economic aid. They cautioned the Palestinian Authority to commit to the Palestinian cause and giving up none of their rights. The participants delivered a letter to the headquarters of British Prime Minister Brown, condemning Britain's silence about the siege on Gaza and the suffering of Palestinians in general. Representatives from the Naturi Karta, Jews Against Zionism, expressed their rejection of the establishment of a Jewish state.
We agree with the Palestinians that the Zionist nation called Israel will not make peace. They cannot make peace no matter how many world leaders meet in Annapolis or wherever any other conference is held. We call on making no compromises in regards to the right of Palestinians to return to their homes. It is the only choice.
No to oppressive compromises, no to giving up Palestinian principles. Jerusalem, the refugees, and the right of return are non-negotiable. The protesters' message is clear, calling on the British government and the international community to lift the oppressive siege on Gaza and end the occupation as a first step towards building confidence. Azza Ziftawi, Al-Alam, London.
صادرت قوات الشرطة العراقية في محافظة بابل 37.
The Iraqi police in Babel confiscated 37 pieces of artifacts stolen from the Iraqi National Museum following the war in 2003. The chief of police in Babel said that the police have arrested a gang that was trying to sabotage the economy in the province. Millions of forged 10,000 dinar bills were found in the possession of the gang.
من فئة 10,000 دينار.
The police in Babel carried out several operations in the northern, middle, and southern parts of Babel. In one of these operations, the police arrested a gang that was trying to sabotage the economy in the province. We also found 34 pieces of artifacts in the possession of this gang. More than 2 million forged 10,000 dinar bills were also found.
التقى رئيس حكومة إقليم كردستان العراق
The Iraqi Kurdish semi-autonomous region's Prime Minister, Neshirvan Barzani, met with U.S. Deputy Secretary of State John Negroponte. They discussed many issues, especially the PKK and the situation with Turkey.
بزيارة المفاجئة لمساعد وزيرة الخارجية الأمريكية جون نيغروبونتي إلى
U.S. Deputy Secretary of State John Negroponte made a surprise visit to the Iraqi Kurdish semi-autonomous region, where he met with its Prime Minister, Neshirvan Barzani, and a number of other Kurdish officials. Barzani held a joint press conference along with John Negroponte and said that they had discussed many issues, including the situation with Turkey and other issues pertaining to the Kurdish region of Iraq.
مسألة تركيا ومسائل أخرى متعلقة بالإقليم والعراق. تسرنا زيارة السيد جون نيغروبونتي.
We are pleased with the visit of John Negroponte, the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State. We held useful negotiations with him on many issues of concern for us and America.
من المسائل المشتركة بيننا وبين أمريكا. وكان لدينا آراء مشتركة.
We have similar views about these issues, including the issue of oil, the PKK, as well as the strategic agreement between the Iraqi central government and Turkey. I think that such visits will help us reach common solutions for unresolved issues.
للمسائل العالقة.
John Negroponte, U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, said that he is proud of his visit to the Kurdish region of Iraq. He said that the visit was important and was successful.
I think it is important for my work in the State Department that I am informed about what is happening here. This will help us carry out our role effectively.
John Negroponte praised the security improvement in Baghdad. Muhannad Kol, Al-Arabiya, Arbil.
President Ahmadinejad told foreign reporters that Iran's nuclear case has closed, adding the West's media hype is there to pile more pressure on Iran. He further said the volume of trade transactions between Iran and the UAE currently runs at $11 billion, the highest in the Persian Gulf region. Asked about any division between Iran and the regional countries, Ahmadinejad said Tehran does act on realities on the ground and not fancies of others. On U.S.-Iran ties, the president said the current literature would live on as long as Washington fails to tone down its rhetoric about Tehran. Iran has brought up two new proposals in its recent talks with the representative of the 5+1 group in London. News has it that Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council raised a paradigm of sweeping cooperation in his weekend talks with Javier Solana. The paradigm highlights efforts to cement regional peace and democracy, boost security, provide sustainable energy, and improve economic ties. Jalili underscored in his second paradigm the significance of regional and international disarmament, cooperation for non-proliferation, and joint work for acquisition and use of nuclear technology.
Each year, on December 2nd, the United Arab Emirates celebrates the formation of its state union, which was established in 1971. Since then, the country has proceeded with determination to strengthen the foundations of this union. In a short time, the UAE has achieved what many countries have been unable to do.
الثاني من ديسمبر لعام 1971 يوم يمثل في كل عام.
December 2nd, 1971 has become a symbolic and distinguished day in the history of the United Arab Emirates. This day was a turning point in the history of a country that has been battered by desertification and a dry climate. It was fate that helped transform this country into a modern and civilized nation, which was able to achieve miraculous developments and economic growth at all levels under the leadership of the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al-Nahyan, God bless his soul. Amidst the sadness and grief following the death of Al-Nahyan, God bless him, the United Arab Emirates mobilized national efforts to continue with the achievements that were launched by the late Sheikh. During this historical period, following Al-Nahyan's death, the country's flag of honor was passed down to his successors, who took the ceremonial oath to continue moving the country forward. Through the union, which has been often described as one of the most successful states of the Union in modern history, Al-Nahyan and his successors have made miraculous achievements at all levels. Among the leading figures was His Highness Prince Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates. Like his predecessor, Sheikh bin Sultan Khalifa attended the Great School of Zayed, which was founded on the principles of goodwill and social generosity, as well as on the principles of equality and justice. Al Nahyan was determined determined to carry on his predecessor's legacy and complete the Union's mission in a relatively short time. Amidst perseverance and diligent work, the leaders of the Union were determined to proceed forward and overcome the challenges on the road ahead. Today, many have expressed admiration and respect for the great accomplishments made by the UAE. Indeed, the UAE has earned a certificate of high regard for building such a great union in such a short time. Since the formation of its union, the country has exerted a tremendous amount of effort to overcome the various obstacles and challenges. Through the union, the UAE made remarkable and indescribable accomplishments in all aspects of life. On December 2nd, 1971, the UAE, which had been long separated and disconnected, was joined together under the flag of unity. It is also on that day that the world told this young nation to be proud of its great accomplishments. By looking at today's UAE, you can see evidence of the great progress made by the nation. The country has achieved major progress in all aspects of life, including the economy, telecommunications, infrastructure, and others. Without a doubt, the future holds even a higher image of today's life in the UAE. Many people in the world believe that the UAE and its union are standing on the front line along with democratic and developed nations. The UAE has indeed become a model for democracy, as well as a place where security and safety dominate. Amidst its shrewd and fair policies, the UAE has exerted efforts to provide peace and security to all of its citizens. This policy has indeed paid off. The union, which is being led by His Highness Prince Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the UAE, has helped transform the country into a land of prosperity and opportunity. Supported by members of the High Council and governors of the states, as well as the citizens of the UAE, Al Nahyan has helped the nation face the many challenges and obstacles on the path to development. The Union vowed to continue exerting efforts to keep this nation, which was founded by the late great leader, as a safe haven for all those who love peace and stability. In addition, the UAE has become a direction for all those searching for miracles made possible by a policy that is based on equality, harmony, and joint efforts.
The relationship between the Arab Gulf countries and Iran is characterized by several points of contention over core issues, including Iran's occupation of the United Arab Emirates Islands, the growth of Iran's military power, and most recently, Iran's nuclear program. Because of these issues, suspicion and caution permeated the relationship between the two sides for several centuries.
This strategic water passageway separates Iran and the Arab Gulf countries. Although geographical proximity necessitated a degree of economic and human exchange between the two sides, their political differences on key issues kept them apart. The first disagreement was on the naming of the Gulf between the Gulf countries and Iran. The divergence between the two sides grew during the time of the Shah in the last third of the last century, after Iran occupied 3 UAE islands, Greater Tunb, Lesser Tunb, and Abu Musa. While the issue of the islands remains in limbo, Iran has been accused of renewing its old interest to control Bahrain, as published in an article by the Kihan newspaper.
وتزداد العلاقات شكوكا مع تنامي القدرات العسكرية الإيرانية وسعي إيران لأن تكون.
Suspicion increased with the growing strength of Iran's military and its desire to be the strongest military power in the Gulf countries. Since 2003, Iran's nuclear program rose to the surface, along with Tehran's plan of having nuclear weapons. This made the Gulf countries apprehensive about Iran's intentions for having nuclear weapons and who the weapons would be aimed at. This is in addition to the environmental risk and the possibility of radiation leaks. Still further tension permeated the relationship between Iran and the Gulf when the Gulf countries supported the Iraqi position and Iran directly threatened the Gulf countries.
ووجهت إيران تهديدات مباشرة لدول الخليج.
But even after removing Saddam Hussein's regime, there is disagreement about the situation in Iraq and the Iranian influence in Iraq. In spite of this, the Gulf countries aim for harmony in the relationship with Iran, with a desire to keep the Gulf area away from any tense conditions. Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries signed several agreements with Tehran on matters of collaborations in security, economic relations, and the Hajj.
So it appears that former Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif cannot stand in his country's elections in January, even if he wanted to. Pakistani election officials have banned him because of criminal convictions that arose from a coup in 1999 when President Pervez Musharraf ousted him. Sharif had declared he'd boycott the elections, but one of his lawyers says that he's considering an appeal against the ban. For more, let's go to Kamal Haider. Kamal, will he appeal this ban? His lawyer said that he might do, but what are the chances that?
Well, his senior party workers are telling us, and some leaders of the party are telling us tonight, that they will not be appealing against the rejection of their papers by the Election Commission. They're also saying that there's unlikely to be a major breakthrough in the talks between Benazir and Nawaz Sharif. Benazir, of course, would be trying to convince Nawaz Sharif that he should end the boycott. Nawaz Sharif, of course, would be saying that he will continue with that boycott. But given the state of affairs in Pakistan, we can expect surprises as well. This is a country where things have been turning really fast. However, at the moment, Nawaz Sharif indeed sticking to his plans of not filing any appeal before the Election Commission. He also met the U.S. ambassador in Lahore earlier, and the U.S. ambassador assured him that the Americans were interested in the return of democracy. The big demand that he made of the U.S. Was that the judiciary should be restored back to the November 2 position, which is when the emergency was imposed and senior judges were put under detention, under house arrest, including Iftikhar Chaudhry. Now, on that front, the ambassador also tried to meet Ehtizaz Ehsan, one of the leading lawyers for Chaudhry, and she was not allowed to do that.
What does this latest move say about Pervez Musharraf's grip on the entire process?
Well, people will tell you that after he assumed charge of as president of Pakistan, that he would not have the same powers that he had when he was chief of army staff. President Musharraf also for the first time has indicated, and this has been widely reported in the media here, that if he did not see a solution to the problems in the elections that are planned for 8 January, then he might even be willing to step aside, which is quite a dramatic development from President Musharraf, so that being the case.
What are you giving this holiday season? Is it this? Or this? Or maybe this? This year, why not make a change? And give your friends and family the world. Now it's easy and meaningful to give the gift of Link TV. Just go to linktv.org or call 1-866-485-8848 to honour those you care about with a tax-deductible gift in their name to Link TV. Choose from one of 3 designs and have a personalised holiday card sent to everyone on your list. Letting your loved ones know you've made them official sponsors of Television Without Borders. This holiday season, remember peace on Earth is possible when we see the world without borders. Happy holidays from Link TV. And don't forget, send your card today.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/Mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV. for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.